Chicago, February 14th, 1929. 7 men stood facing a brick wall, believing they're about to be arrested. Seconds later, machine guns opened fire. Snow covered the streets of Chicago that morning on Valentine's Day. But inside a garage at 2122 North Clark Street, something far darker was waiting. Members and associates of Chicago's North Side gang had gathered there early in the morning. Some smoked cigars, others waited casually. Then around 10:30 a.m., a police car appeared outside. 2 men dressed as police officers entered the garage alongside 2 other men in plain clothes. The gang members believed it was a routine raid. They complied. They turned towards the wall, and then that's when the shooting began. The gunfire was devastating. Thompson machine guns roared through the garage. Shotguns blasted at close range. Bullets tore through the room. By the end of it, 7 men lay dying or dead in pools of blood. The killers calmly walked out of the building afterward. To witnesses outside, it looked like police officers escorting prisoners away. The disguise had worked perfectly. The massacre was part of a brutal gang war raging through Chicago during Prohibition. Illegal alcohol meant enormous profits, and rival gangs fought viciously for territory and control. On one side was the North Side Gang, once led by Dean O'Bannon. After O'Bannon's murder in 1924, leadership eventually passed to George Bugs Moran. On the other side stood the Chicago Outfit, led by one of the most infamous gangsters in American history, Al Capone. By 1929, the feud between Capone and Moran became deadly. Assassinations, drive-by shootings, retaliation killings, Chicago had become a battlefield. And many historians believe the St. Valentine's Day Massacre was designed to eliminate Bugs Moran once and for all. According to investigators and later historical accounts, the victims were lured into the garage with promises of a shipment of stolen whiskey. Moran's men arrived first, but Moran himself never made it inside. As he approached the building, he reportedly saw what looked like police officers entering the garage. Thinking it was a real police raid, he turned and walked away. That decision likely saved his life. News of the massacre spread rapidly across America. Newspapers printed horrifying crime scene photographs. The brutality shocked the nation. Machine guns, fake police officers, public executions. Organized crime was no longer hidden in the shadows. Americans now saw the violence of the Prohibition era in full view. Authorities strongly suspected Al Capone, but proving it was another matter. At the time of the massacre, Capone was in Florida. He denied involvement. No one was ever convicted for the murders. To this day, historians continue debating exactly who organized the attack and which gunman pulled the triggers. But many believe the massacre marked the peak of Capone's power and the beginning of his downfall. Public outrage after the massacre intensified pressure on law enforcement. The federal government increased efforts to destroy organized crime networks. And while Al Capone avoided murder convictions, he would eventually be arrested for something else entirely: tax evasion. In 1931, the most feared gangster in America was sentenced to prison. The garage where the massacre occurred no longer stands, but the story still haunts American history. 7 men lined against a wall, gunfire echoing through a Chicago garage, and a massacre so shocking it helped define the violent era of Prohibition forever. If you enjoy true crime stories rooted in real history, subscribe to A Veil of Crime. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee. The link is right on the channel page. Because behind every crime, there's always a darker story waiting to be uncovered.